Well, with the two new NFL stadiums ready to break ground within the coming months, I thought it would be a fun little comparison. We've got the Tennessee Titans new stadium and the Buffalo Bills new one as well. We're going to go over kind of some of the main features of each of these, which one I personally like more when it comes to the overall design. Both of them do have HD renderings available. The Titans have a lot more pictures, though. I would imagine we're going to get more renderings from Buffalo. I would say probably within the coming month or two. A lot of stuff's going to be happening with the offseason just now commencing. But looking at the Bills' exterior first, I've got to say I'm very impressed. I love the slick glassing or whatever that is, the way that's reflected right there. It almost looks like it's silver, but it's a very sexy looking exterior. You've got the buffaloes, the golden buffaloes or whatever that is, the statues in the front. I think it looks great. I like their exterior a lot. It's got a real nice buffalo vibe overall, while also combining that modern, futuristic look into it. I think they did a good job with it. Now, looking at the Tennessee Titans exterior, it almost, it looks almost like one of those ultra-modern, flat-type homes. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but it's got like, it doesn't really look like a stadium, which I'm guessing is what they were going for on the exterior. There's not a great rendering of the exterior from a far-away vantage point like we saw with the Bills. Maybe this is the best one it shows kind of in the stadium. They do have a roof. Now, personally, I am not a fan of domes, and that's what this is. It is not retractable because you are going to get a lot of times now teams going with the retractable roofs. There's been rumors that going retractable will cost you an extra $500 million or maybe even up to $1 billion. And you think, Nashville, Tennessee, they've got fine weather. What's the issue? When it comes to hosting a Super Bowl, either being located in Miami, a really warm weather place, or having a dome. Like for Nashville, Tennessee, if they did not have a roof, or at least retractable or a dome, there is 0% chance they would ever host a Super Bowl. Even though Nashville is pretty nice, the NFL, outside of that crazy year they put it in New York, the NFL is not going to take a chance of dealing with crazy cold elements. They want to keep everything neutral. That's why the Super Bowl, it's going to be in Vegas. It was in LA. It was just back in Arizona. It's in Florida. Warm weather places or domes. That's main, or both. Theoretically, they would love both because a lot of fans fly in from out of town. They want to make it a vacation. That's why they like the warm weather places. But I would imagine they're going with the roof. It's a curved roof that's going to be glass-like that allows sun to come in. That's kind of like the new cool thing to do. If you're going to go with the roof, at least let light come in, make it glass, and it's the same thing Minnesota did. The Vikings dealing with brutally cold weather there in Minneapolis, they wanted a dome, but they made it completely different than their previous home. It does look very nice there. And I think Minnesota had a Super Bowl. Did they seriously have a Super Bowl? That's crazy to me. I think they did. I think they might have had like 2020 or 2021 or something like that. Oh, you guys remember 2020? The pandemic Super Bowl in Tampa Bay? Yeah, I remember that. But either way, when it comes to the interior of it, the exterior, I do like Buffalo's. I think it looks better from the renderings. Maybe, again, Buffalo is not releasing very much. I believe we're going to get a lot more rendering soon. But I do like that vibe of kind of the cold. It just looks really nice. It looks like a silver type exterior design. And with Tennessee, it's like they're trying to do too much. It just looks a little too modern. It looks like one of those weird homes, modern homes that doesn't know what they're doing. They've got like walls in 30 different spots. It's like one of those flat things. I don't know. And then looking at the interior, Buffalo is trying to, I guess, kill two birds with one stone. They want the elements of Buffalo, which is why it's open air, but they do have a distinct canopy, which I personally do not like that look. I do think it makes it look a little bit more ugly, but I understand why they're doing it, because Buffalo is saying, listen, yes, everyone's going to the retractable, everyone's going to the dome, but this is part of Buffalo. They always get one crazy snowstorm a year. They're going to at least be playing one, probably multiple games per year in weather. The idea that you're just going to eliminate that would be a pretty big break from what culturally, the whole culture of it, and the fact that Buffalo is a cold weather city and stuff like that. So they do have that canopy that covers around 70% of the fans. That's what it should cover. So a lot of the fans will be covered from the snowfall, but still they're going to be exposed to the elements because it is open air. And that canopy will probably kick up some crazy winds within there. It's probably going to be really windy in that stadium. Looking at the seating arrangement, they have a massively big upper deck. So that is a distinct style that they are going with. Looks like they've got a pretty big lower bowl, like basically every NFL stadium does. And then on both end zones, it looks pretty good. It's a decent seating configuration. I'm not going to complain too much. Going back to Tennessee, they have a little bit of a smaller upper deck, but it's still pretty distinct. To me, Tennessee's seating, it maybe is slightly cleaner, but I just think that roof looks so ugly. There's something about roofs, especially if it's not retractable, that I have a real big issue with. But when it comes to the interior, both of these are very comparable, but I would probably lean to liking the Bills a little bit more, just going back and forth between the two. As for the seating capacity, both of them are virtually the same. Tennessee is at 60,000. The Buffalo Bills roughly at 62,000. So 2,000 more people will fit in Buffalo's stadium, but that is all unconfirmed. It could change by a few thousand here or there. Now, looking at the Titans' key features in this design, exterior terraces and porches with panoramic views of Nashville that will serve as social space during event days. So they're going to have all types of stuff in this stadium due to the fact that it's a dome, big on concerts. Maybe they get a Final Four, and they're also going to want to attract, I'm sure, to Nashville, the Super Bowl. That's got to be one of the main goals for them with this project. A circular-shaped, high-tech, translucent roof. So it's going to be circular, high-tech, and it is going to be see-through, allowing natural sunlight into the stadium. Improved sightlines for all spectators through diverse viewing experiences. High-tech and sustainable materials throughout the building. And this will cost roughly $2 billion. The Buffalo Bills' new facility is going to cost around $1.6 billion. So roughly $500 million less for the Bills stadium, and that is mainly, I would say, the construction of the roof. That's one of the big things that's probably making the Titans cost more. And I also think Tennessee is doing more with the surrounding areas, like putting up extra buildings. We've seen other teams do it, where they'll make a whole complex and really kind of tie the whole area into the stadium and get new jobs that way. I believe that's what they're trying to do with it as well. Now, just another thing that I found interesting when it comes to NFL stadiums as a whole, this is a list of when every NFL stadium opened, and you can see, Soldier Field, that's going to get replaced by 2030. Lambeau, they've already renovated it. Arrowhead is kind of a classic. What will they do with Arrowhead? You have to wonder what they'll do with Arrowhead, because it's so classic, and it still, to me, looks fine, but it is pretty old at this point. I wonder if it'll be one of those grandfather types like Lambeau, where it's just kind of a relic and they'll keep it. The Bills Stadium, obviously they're getting a new one. The Superdome in New Orleans, I didn't know it was that old. Wow. But I believe they've renovated it recently. Hard Rock Stadium, they've definitely renovated. Miami had no choice. It was either build a new one or renovate it. That thing was ugly. Jacksonville I'm really interested to see what Jacksonville's going to do. They need something. They need to renovate it. They got to do something. That is not a good stadium. Carolina, I think they're a sleeper team for a new stadium. We know the Commanders are going to be getting one. And then maybe the other teams on that list, we know Tennessee's getting one. Also, the Cleveland Browns looking at adding a roof or maybe straight up moving altogether to a new facility. So that is kind of the comparison between the Bills and the Titans overall. With Tennessee being a dome, it is different. But I will say the interior of each, similar design. You've got one big upper deck and one big lower deck with a lot of the club seating in the middle. We've seen some of these. We saw a very similar design with the new Vegas stadium as well. I guess that's kind of the new big thing. Go with the bigger upper decks because they went away from it for a little bit, but now they're back to it. And, that's a distinct thing I've noticed in the NFL when it comes to the design of new stadiums. They've got the bigger upper decks that are a little bit closer to the playing field. But that's going to do it for this comparison video, guys. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.